Hi everyone. I'm going to talk about how to support better the emotional healing aspect of scar healing, especially in the context of a cesarean birth. English isn't my first language. I'm located in Quebec, Canada, so I speak French mostly. So I might be rusty at the beginning, but I'll be more and more fluent as time passes by. If you have any questions, since the chat isn't working, please just raise your hands. I can actually see that. And then you can talk. I'll allow you to talk, and then you can ask a question or intervene. If you have like something to say, doesn't have to be a question. You can interrupt me, and we can go from there. I just wanted to check. Okay, perfect. And I'll send you the recording afterwards if you wanted to listen to it or watch it at another time. So I'm gonna start with the poem. Wild woman will hold us while we grieve. She is the instinctual self. She can bear our screaming, our wailing, our wishing to die without dying. She will put the best medicine in our worst places. She will whisper and murmur in our ears. She will feel pain for her pain. She will bear it. She will not run away. Although there will be scars, and plenty of them, it is a good reminder that in tensile strength and ability to absorb pressure, a scar is stronger than skin. A small introduction. So I'm doing this while I'm also promoting a live workshop on the subject, a whole day on C-section scars, not only the emotional aspect, but a physical aspect too, with hands-on practice. So it's going to be downtown Toronto in the AIM Academy School location. I'll send you links afterward with if you want more infos on that. Sorry that the chat isn't working for the people who are listening live. I will send you all the links afterward. I and then we'll cover like theory and practice and treatment plans and all the tools and the exercise you can give to your patient. I don't want to talk too much about the whole class. This class will be a sneak peek uh, for the bigger workshop one happening in July. And it's also happening. I'm very excited for this one. It's another workshop happening just the day after mine on auscultation, palpation, and fetal positioning. And Safir, if you're here, just raise your hand so I can allow you to talk for a few. Yay, raise hand. Okay, that works. You'll have to unmute your mic. I don't know if that
Hello,
works.
I think I did. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that works fine.
Okay, great. Did you want me to chat about this now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Yeah, super excited for your workshop and happy to be offering this as well the next day. So I'm doing two half-day workshops. My background about me, I'm a midwife and birth worker for over 25 years now. So I have had the honor and pleasure of palpating thousands and thousands of bellies. And I've been asked by multiple different healthcare providers, including acupuncturists, to learn a bit more about palpation. So I designed this workshop in a lecture format. So first, breaking down all the aspects of palpation as well as fetal positioning. Often people will hear or come in and say, "Oh, my baby's like in the posterior position," or "My baby's breech," and having an understanding of how to palpate that and understand that as a practitioner. Also looking at measurement. And yeah, so we're going to dive in through lecture, and then I'm super excited about the second half, which is to do palpation on live pregnant mamas. So to have a group of people that are going to come and offer up their beautiful bellies for us to connect with them and their babies. So everyone has a chance to really understand hands-on practice from measurement to step-by-step palpation, understanding fetal position. So hoping we have babies in a variety of positions. Obviously, that's going to depend on who comes that day. Maybe we'll have breech position or twins or yeah, we'll see what the day looks like. But yeah, Super excited to be sharing this information and knowledge, and especially for folks who are working primarily or regularly, I should say, with pregnant folks, because it's a really wonderful way to deepen your connection to your patients, but also to your practice. And as acupuncturists, there's so much intuitive knowledge that we're offering and using in our practice, and being able to really connect and palpate and understand on a deeper level is going to really up level the treatment.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna I'm gonna attend that workshop. Obviously, I'm like super excited for this. And then I just say remove permission to talk, and now I'm back. So my background, I didn't talk about this. I've been an acupuncturist and a birth doula for 11 years now. My practice is mostly on perinatal care, so end of pregnancy, third trimester care, treatment during labor, and postpartum, like close postpartum periods. And I'm mostly, well, not touch, but C-sections are very important for me. And VBACs, also vaginal birth after C-sections, because of my own journey. I might chat about it while I'm doing the lecture or not, but just so you know, it's this is super important. Scars and C-section patients are most often discarded, like they didn't just have major abdominal surgeries happening to them while they're still figuring out how to keep that newborn alive. So please, if you're listening, thank you. I'm glad to share this information, and please keep on taking good care of your patients. So I'm gonna backtrack a bit. Before we start healing the scars, there needs to be an injury that created a wound. Then a catastrophe strikes, a wound appears. The oneness of the dynamic web is forever altered. This is from Sharon Wheeler. So the organism must patch itself in order to survive. We, as a human, have inherited um, healing processes from a very old age, like prehistoric age. So we, as organism, we prefer quick healing, but bad healing, to a slower and more functional healing, especially because once upon a time there was no antibiotics and we were no medication. Well, there were herbs, but if you had a big wounds and you were bleeding to death, that means it's bad. It's bad. You're probably gonna die. So we evolved to heal wounds quickly, but with nah function semi-functional scars, like meh tissue that doesn't work that well afterward. But at least we're alive, so we'll deal with the scar lesions later. But we prefer to heal quickly and badly, that badly as in a bad scar tissue, instead of healing slowly and building a beautiful scar that will be more functional for the rest of our lives. In modern days, where we have access to antibiotics and good asepsy, I don't know if that's right in English, but we can take good care of our wounds so they don't end up being infected. So maybe if we could like update our physiology to be able to heal a bit slower but better, that would be great. But yeah, we cannot do that, or maybe not in the next 10,000 years. So for now, we're stuck with a wound that closes quickly, but yeah, with a bad scar afterward. So at least we can do some things to make the tissue better after. But just so you know, this is our heritage. So the healing would happen in different stages: homeostasis, afterward inflammation, proliferation, remodeling, and then the functional integration. It's the last stage, but it might happen anywhere during those, or it might never happen. I'm going to focus here more on the functional integration part stage of healing, but all the others happen chron chronologically, chronologically, one after the other. Sorry. Like I said, my English is going to be a bit rusty in the beginning, and it's going to get better. So I'm going to use a metaphor Let's say that your body is a house, and then the house is wrecked because a meteor fell from the sky and tore off part of the roof, smashed through one entire side of the second and first floors. So you have broken wires with sparking electricity, water is leaking from the pipes, sewage is backing up onto the floor, furniture is crushed, the structural integrity of the wall is compromised. So your house might fall down. It stands for now, but it's weak. It might fall on yourself. So this is the injury. Here that would be the C-section. So the inhabitants, your little cells, quickly take care of the wires. And then they plug the pipe hastily. So if you have pipes and running water, broken pipes and running water flowing to them, what would you do with no tools and no special skills to repair plumbing? You would take old t-shirts and you would fill the hole up. You would fill the hole with anything you could put your hands on. So homeostasis is that. It's an emergency closure of things so we don't bleed to death. Uh, it's not a it's not a permanent repair by any means. It's just an emergency repair with what you have on hands. And then afterward, we need to clean everything. So we need to clean up the materials that have come out of the sewers, so the feces and the urines, to prevent disease. We purify the water to prevent mold, and then we remove wood debris and other waste to prevent further spread of the disease or to prevent ourselves from injuring us again. So this is the inflammation stage where the body cleans everything up and tries. The immune system is working a lot. And then afterward, in the proliferation stage, this is where the more elaborate repair happens. The repair crews arrive and begin erecting a temporary framework to cover the roof so it doesn't rain on us, and start building new walls to secure the structure because we don't want the house to fall down. So the emergency repairs will be gradually removed and replaced with more robust work. The water and sewage systems are connected to the city network. Work begins to reconnect the electricity to the grid. So nerve things are happening too. If necessary, the house is anchored to neighboring structures for added stability. So if your house is on the verge of falling down, you might use big wires and attach your house to neighboring trees and houses and other big sound structure. So this would be the adhesions. Adhesions can go like tentacles in any direction to any depth. And they might not just glue surrounding tissues together. They might glue like other organs, surrounding organs, or might go in any direction. They are a big issue. I'm not going to talk about adhesions that much in this class, but I'm going to talk about them a lot during the live workshop. So now you have adhesions, you have things, called. Sorry, my brain decided to forget that word. You took your house and you anchored it with poles for added stability. So now it's time to finish every repair work. Proliferation, it will be around the time when the wound is closed up until like 3 months. It will depend on the scar tissue. The uterine scars heals less quickly than the superficial scars. And it depends also, did you rest? Were you stressed during the recovery? Were you crying all day and your cortisol was super elevated because you almost died during the birth? So it might take a longer time than this, but usually it's done at around like your 8 week marks to up to 3 months mark, that window of time usually. After that, it's time to do the renovation. Everything is repaired. Now we need to make it nice. So then the scar needs to flatten down. It needs to become pale and white instead of being like purplish and red. And it needs to be like gliding and less dense, collagen dense. So the worker take the time to take care of the decoration of the house, the painting, do the finishing touches to every repairs. They finish connecting the electricity and they reinforce or remove the attachments that link the house to the surrounding structures. This is where the fibroblasts of the adhesions might come into apoptosis. It's when they die. They're supposed to die, adhesions are supposed to die, but sometimes they stay. If the scar isn't secure enough, the adhesions will stay for a longer period of time or forever if nothing happens to them and force them to die. So they might heal during the remodeling stage. That might take up to a year or a year and a half or 2 years, depending. The adhesion will either become permanent structures or will be removed. So the crisis has been averted. Now we could think that the healing is done. The scar is there, everything has been repaired in our house, and that's yay, that's great. But we live now in a new house. It's not the same, obviously, even if we try to do the renovation work as good as we can. As faithful to the old house's spirit as we can, it's still not the same house. So we need to grieve. We need to accept that this house is not the same that it was, but it's ours. It's our house, and we need to inhabit it. And we also have to integrate the community and neighborhood life. We need to visit the neighbors, talk to them about what happened, grieve and accept the new home, like I said, and start participating in community activities. We cannot like just stay in our house forever. This is the functional integration part, the part where most of it, emotional healing happens. And sometimes, like I said earlier, this doesn't happen at all. I had someone I tried to refer to an acupuncturist. I saw her comment in a mom group on Facebook, and she said her C-section was like 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old. I cannot remember for sure, but it had been a while. And she still, up to this day, isn't able to touch her scar. She hasn't touched her scar at all in the last 7 to 8 years. This means that the functional integration didn't happen. This part of her probably doesn't feel like hers yet, even with all that time that passed between the birth and the woman she is now. So this part, the functional integration, it might never happen. You might grieve forever and never accept your new home. And ideally, this should be done if you want to heal and if you want a spirit to heal and you want to accept your body, love or tolerate your scars, the functional integration must happen. And this is the part I'm going to focus on for this talk. I'm going to give you a few tools for that. So sometimes functional integration, this stage is called reappropriation, reconnection, embodiment. Uh, the scar needs to be integrated into body schemas, sensory motor integration, and you need to resolve the perception of threat. And you need to stop protecting yourself, stop the cessation of protective patterns, and the normalization of body perception in the cerebral cortex into a cortical map of ourselves. So, what is a scar? A scar crystallizes a moment of clash with the world. It is in the skin like a hieroglyph whose meaning only the person who bears it knows. Opening of memory amidst fragments of existence and sometimes of abysses left by circumstances, it recounts the episode of a story written in the flesh, in its own language, and contributes to the individualization of the subject. From one mark to another, a sensitive biography sketch. So we had a wound. The oneness of the dynamic web has been forever altered because the fascia line have been broken. And now the body repaired itself, and now we have a scar. We have inherited a very dense band of collagen that possesses an extremely high tensile strength several newtons per square millimeter. It is also a scar, physical scar, but the story of a trauma, the mark of a significant event, often very emotionally charged. Even if the C-section went well, even if it was an elective C-section, even if you chose it, you were surrounded by people you love, very well supported, it might be less emotionally charged, but it's still the birth of your child. Of course, it's going to be a significant event in your life. And most often than not, emotionally charged with lots of contradict and emotion that might seems like opposite one another. You might feel like proud of yourself, also very guilty, like grieving the birth experience you wanted. Also, you almost feared, you thought you were dying, or your partner thought that you were dying. You might also like cry because you love your baby too much and cry because you ate your body now that you have that scar. And since everybody in the body is connected from the external skin tissues to the internal bone marrow by connective tissues that remain constantly under tension and compression, the scar will have impacts everywhere. I'm not going to talk about all the impacts that scar might have everywhere. There are many physical ones that we do not like uh, automatically associate with the C-section scars, like shoulder pains and neck pain, especially in older women. But just so you know, that scar will have impact probably everywhere, especially if it's not well treated. And I love that code for it. We need to ask ourselves how the entire body affects the scar and how the scar affects the entire body. And now back to the context of a cesarean birth scar. I'm assuming here that that scar, especially if you're trying to treat the or support the emotional aspect of healing, I'm assuming here that you didn't want that scar and that this C-section was traumatic in some kind of ways. So if you had maybe not trauma, but a bad birth experience that resulted in that scar, or the scar happened in between that bad experience, you might heal differently, even the physical aspect of it. The release of substance P from nerve endings, particularly those in the hypothalamus following emotional trauma, can alter the structure of collagen, giving it a specific hexagonal shape known as an emotional scar. So emotional healing is important because obviously it's important to emotionally heal from our wounds, but also because it will affect the physical healing of the scar and the quality of the scar tissue that you will have for the rest of your life. So it's not just the physical healing is important and then the emotional healing is an afterthought. They should be both of the same importance. The end result, if the functional integration part of healing is done and well healed, emotionally the scar should, but it is ideally, okay, we're not judging anyone's journey and perceptions of themselves. But the scar should be a bearer of meaning. The story of the scar should have been heard many times. The scar should have been befriended or tamed. What I mean by that is you can touch it, you can look at it, you can handle it without feeling bad inside or without worrying. The scar should not carry any shame. The scar should be liked or at least neutrally perceived, at least like tolerated. The scar should have received gratitude. The scar should not be a dividing line between the upper and the lower body. It needs to be integrated. It needs to feel like it's part of us, not an external alien part that was forced upon us. It needs not to be, it shouldn't be tied to a birth trauma. Birth trauma can still exist. You can still have your birth trauma. I hope this gets healed too, but the scar should not be like the herald of the trauma. It should be two separate things. The scar should be your body healed yourself and saved you. The scar shouldn't be the trauma. So trauma still happened to you, still super important, but The scar and the trauma shouldn't be intertwined together like one thing. They should be separated. And the scar should not trigger somatic memories when it's touched. So if everything here, if this functional integration is done and it was well done and well healed, this is everything the scar should have or not have. So let's go through the emotional journey of an invisible scar. When you need to heal, unhinge your rib cage, peer into the soul of you, find out where it hurts, and quietly whisper into the ache. It's okay. It's okay. So we start at the birth. Another poem. I love them a lot. Brave, brave woman, slice me open, give me my son. And now life has begun for two. Sacred scar that heralds your point of entry, not my badge of failure, my mark of courage and strength. Brave woman, I survived. I am alive. So we arrive at the birth of our child, uh, not as a fresh human being. We arrive already carrying baggage. We have our fears, our hopes, we have pre-existing traumas, we have our social conditioning to be a good girl, to shut up if something bothers us, to not name our needs, to like push them down, to like just listen and obey to the paternal figure, the authority in the room. It might be there. All this might be there consciously, mostly unconsciously, but we don't arrive like fresh humans into that C-sections. If that was the case, we would have less trauma. But we exist as whole human beings with lots of triggers, pre-existing triggers, obviously. But ultimately, when our flesh tears, it is also a little bit of ourselves that tears at the same time. Of course, it depends on the incision. Like I said, I assume here, if you're supporting client through the emotional healing of their C-sections, it's because there's something to emotionally heal. If it was the most magical and because I saw I'm a birth doula and I supported the mom, a solo mom, who chose to have a C-sections, and I was there. I was the dad. I was a second partner for her, and I was there with her in the operating room, and it was like such a beautiful birth. It healed part. I don't know. I'm okay. I didn't expect it to be still emotional, still healing from my son's birth. Yay! It was really a magical birth. The lights were dim. Everyone was so respectful and kind. She had a small team. She knew her OBGYN. She trusted her. I was able to film the whole thing. She had that skin to skin immediately with her daughter. It was beautiful. So yes, of course, she had to physically heal from a major abdominal trauma. She still had a surgery. I'm not downplaying that. But emotionally, that birth was redemption. She had a first traumatic C-section, very horrible. So if you have that magical C-section, of course, you won't have much to emotionally heal from. It might just be glory and proudness, and you might just feel strong, and it was beautiful. Uh, so it depends. The end result doesn't really matter. Well, it matters a lot, but the thing that stays with us afterwards for the rest of our lives is how well we were treated, how we were treated during the birth, and how we felt. So if you felt wonderful during the C-sections and you were like wonderfully supported, you might not have much or nothing at all to emotionally heal from. But also, maybe the incision happened in a context of unimaginable violence, where you were mistreated, you were forgotten, you were dehumanized, people didn't talk to you, didn't consider you. I maybe you feared for your life or your baby's life. Maybe the people that were supposed to protect you abandoned you, your body abandoned you, and everyone failed you. And then you will have lots of things to emotionally heal from. Probably it's going to be somewhere in between because there are many nuances to human beings and our psyche. Uh, Nothing will be all black or all white, but the invisible scar, the emotional one, is almost always present, at least a little bit, on one level or another, and offer with several layers of thing intertwined in the middle and not together. What is certain is that the birth of our child has left a bigger mark than we would have liked, and that our skin will forever bear the trace of it. So while you are treating the journey, the emotional journey of scar healing, you might need to address and treat birth trauma. Some fun statistics: 1 in 3 births is reported as traumatic. 3 out of every 100 births result in PTSD. This is in Canada. It might be worse in the States or somewhere else, or better. I hope it's better where you live. A systematic review found a significant increase in PTSD following an emergency cesarean section compared to a vaginal birth or a scheduled C-section. So most of the time, emergency C-sections are more traumatic than scheduled C-section or vaginal birth. And then the other stats are for perineal tearing, because these are scars that you still need to emotionally heal from. I'm not talking about them specifically in this lecture, but um, perineum tear also need emotional healing. And you can use the tool I'm giving you now to also apply them to fourth or third degree tear. So tools to help. This is one of my favorite tools. I'll send you the link too. It's from Andrew Miles, the one of the creator of botanical biohacking. Superb company, super herbs. Um, so I've been using this since 2017. So it's been a while. And this helped me. It's probably the thing that helped me the most to heal my son's birth, the traumatic C-section one. It's like trauma is like an onion or a gift that keeps on giving. You peel a layer and oh, surprise, a new layer. And then you peel that layer. Oh, surprise, a new layer. It just keeps on going and going. Infinite gifts from birth trauma. So this is like a bulldozer of chi. There's something somewhere emotional or physical. It works super well for physical blockages too. It's stuck somewhere. This is going to get it out, even if you want it or not. Just so you know, sometimes it's very uncomfortable. Healing is uncomfortable anyway, but weird things happen while we do this, especially in a group setting. It's super fun to do it in a group setting. Super weird, but incredible experience. So if you want to adapt it to the original Huff and Puff wasn't meant for birth trauma specifically. If you want to do it in the context of a birth trauma, please add something that targets the uterus. So the uterine point in auriculotherapy, I like Fouquet. Fouquet is a tongue point on the thumb. I love it. It's my favorite point. Or PC1, PC7.1 on the palm of the hand. It's a tan point targeting the uterus. I don't know. Target it as you wish with the points you prefer, but you're trying to aim the tornado of chi in a direction. It might not go there, but at least you have an intention for the chi, for the bulldozer. So at the end of the track, there's a track online. This is the link I wanted to send you. Kristen, she was there with me during that workshop in 2017. She was she got to live that weird experience. We went in that without any warning. Andrew, if you're listening one day, that was like mean and awesome. But please, if you do it to your patient, let them know ahead of time before they start all the thing they might experience. Reassure them that they're safe. Whatever they feel, it's still breathing. They are safe. And please try it for yourself before you suggest it to someone else. So the track is 20 minutes. Once it's done, switch to another YouTube music, calm music, anything you like, because the processing part after the off and puff, after you breathe, is where most of the healing happens. So don't just get the needle out and whoosh them toward the rest of their day. they still need time to process and integrate what just happened, all the weird stuff that happened. So once the 20 minutes is done, get the needle out, put a needle on the heart channel. I like heart tree. It is the point of grief and joy and acceptance. Like you moving on from the terrible thing that happened to you, and now you live in joy, joy and grief. Uh, so I like heart tree, but sometimes I prefer Shanman, so heart seven, whatever point you prefer, and then put heart warmth on the low abdomen. I like Moxa pack and infrared lamp, whatever you prefer. You could do Moxa now. You could do Moxa too. I like near the uterus, yes, that region, low REM channel, and then let them rest for at least another 15 minutes. I'm going to do the Huff and Puff during the class in their workshop in July. In a group setting, it's especially powerful. I don't know why, but it's even better than doing it on your own. So we're going to do it in a group setting. We're going to end with that and then do a big circle where we share all the things we experience. And we're going to cry. If I don't make people cry during my class, I failed. This is the way I measure if I did a good job, if I can touch the soul beneath the practitioner. This makes people cry. And it makes me unveil a new layer of my onion, of my trauma onion. Well, I'm joking. For the last two times I did it, it unveiled other traumas, not my birth traumas, and my birth trauma, and I was very proud of me for all the work I did. So something else you can do is hear their story. My postpartum treatment, the first visit after their birth, it's an hour and a half. It is a longer treatment. I charge more for this, obviously. And I run just one room. I do not double room or triple whatever my setting at that time. It's one-on-one for an hour and a half because I need to hear their birth stories. It's part of the treatment. I'm not just gonna rush this. I want to hear every details. They want to share with me, obviously. I'm not like digging things they don't want to share. A decisive turning point in a client's healing journey can occur when they feel their story has been heard. So it's difficult to heal a story when it's all frayed and the edges are like separated. In a wound healing, the myofibroblast, they have like a part that contracts, just like a muscle, to close the wound together, close the edge of the wound together, and they contract to close it. So if we take that same analogy for emotional healing, we need to talk about our story multiple times to make it all make sense, to process what happened to us, and to glue the edges together to create a physical and then create an emotional scar. So you can do that in the clinic. It, just you alone hearing that story won't be enough, but at least you can offer that. You can hold space. You can be really present. You can give yourself time, not rush this part, genuinely listen. We validate all the feelings that comes up. And most of the time they cry and they say, I'm sorry, I'm crying. And then you say, no, don't be sorry. This is a safe space. You can cry here. Please do cry if you need to. It's part of the healing journey. I'm here. I'm listening. And also try to listen to the nonverbal cues. And if you can do, we call that reflet in French. It's a reflection. Like, oh, okay, I saw your eyes well up while you were talking about that part. This must be the part that hurt you the most, or this part touched you a lot. Just let them know that you see also what their body is telling. You're not just listening to the words they're saying, you're listening to the whole story they are telling you. A quick suggestion you can do, you can suggest to your clients so they can continue on this path alone uh, once they leave your treatment room. They could ask their partner to write the story of their birth from their point of view, because most of the time the partner also have birth trauma. If you can make them come into your clinic and treat them also, that would be super amazing. But most of the time they just not they shell up and they push down those feelings of trauma and they're like, nah, I wasn't affected by this. And then you become pregnant a few years later and they cry and they shake because all the fears that was holding up and just burst out of the seams. So you can encourage them to talk about this together. And another exercise, this is coming from the emotional recovery from a C-section, Cesarean. They can rewrite their history. So you write your birth story as it unfolded, but each time something went wrong or something went not the way you wanted that to go, you change the details. So something better happened. You write the birth you would have liked to happen to you, and you write up, you like erase all the bad details, and you write something better instead. Something else you can do that I love to do a lot is give them. I asked my friend. She is a fabulous illustrator, and there's not a lot of good positive representation of C-section folks and moms. Spirit ESOL have some on Etsy too. I'll send you the link so you can download this page for free. Like just print it and share it with your clientele if you want. So I give them 2 copies or 3 if the partner wants to participate. And I encourage them to tell their birth story to the children while they're coloring using children word and images, of course, but talking to your baby, how you felt and how the birth unfolded and how you heal or trying to heal from it. It's part of their healing story. They need to hear their birth story too, and you need to tell them when you're ready. I'm just suggesting things. They might not do them, and it's okay. At least I'm giving them tools. So, the dissociation. Yet you can fully recover if you don't feel safe in your skin. So dissociation is the very essence of trauma. The traumatic experience is fragmented and broken up, and sensory fragments and of memory can intrude upon the present. As long as the trauma remains unresolved, the stress hormones the body secretes for protections continue to circulate. Yay, stress hormones. So good to heal physical wound. And defensive movements and emotional reactions continue to reoccur. If elements of the trauma are repeated again and again, the accompanying stress hormones um, etch these memories even deeper into the mind. Sometimes this dissociation from the body, this disconnect, already existed before birth. So you pile one dissociation on top of another one, pre-existing one. For example, in case of sexual violence, and lead us to even be more broken by the consequences of the invisible scars of birth. This is a quote from an essayist in French. I translated it to talk about pre-existing trauma. Gestures without desires. This is in the context of a sexual encounter or relationship. Gestures without desire, even if the mind consents, even if the intellect accepts, are perceived and registered by the body as real aggressions. Faced with these repeated assaults, the body protects itself by desensitizing and the mind by dissociating. But since we are our body, we can imagine the ordeal of being cut off from it, the sensation of being thus fragmented, literally torn to pieces. Just assume that everybody is a bit dissociated, not because of this specifically, but we're not very good or competent to deal with very big thing happening to us. So we are all a bit dissociated-ish. And when this big dissociation from the C-section happens, it worsens up things. And this dissociation can happen also even if it's an elective C-section that you wanted. Um, because like imagine you're receiving a spinal anesthesia and you cannot feel or move your legs, and then you are laid down on a table. You have a screen in front of you, and on the other side it's full of stranger masked. You don't see their face, you don't see as well their eyes. You don't know them. It's full of them. It's not like 1 or 2 people, and you cannot run. So the animal part of you deep down is terrorized. because it thinks it's gonna die. You can, and sometimes you have your hands like held up together too. In Quebec, we don't do that as often, but it's super rare now. I'm very glad it's rare, but you're literally restrained. And if someone wants to do something bad to you, they can. You're helpless. So that little animal inside you, it thinks it is dying. And in order to not suffer as much from being eaten or from from the death thing that is happening soon, it dissociate. You get out of your body. So when your body gets eaten by beasts, it doesn't hurt as much. So this very primal thing, just know that it can happen even if you want that C-section, even if you chose it, even if it's your desired outcome. The little small beast in you who is trapped and held and so vulnerable in a room full of stranger, it might think it is dying and it might dissociate in order to feel less pain when it's gonna inevitably get heated up. So it might still happen in any, even if it's an elective C-section, just so you know. Trauma can compromise the area of the brain that communicates the embodied physical sensation of being alive associated with interoception. This explains why sometimes when traumatized, we can become hyper-vigilant in the face of threat or perceived threats at the expense of fully engaging in our present lives. Not being fully alive in the present keeps us even more imprisoned by the past, by the trauma. That dissociation can lead to either a cut between the upper and lower part of our bodies or feeling like the scar doesn't truly belongs to us. It's something else. So a few tools to help. If the upper and lower body part are disconnected, we can no longer inhabit our whole being. We are no longer here in the present with our corporeal body. And since the vast expanse of the web, the fascia, is but a single unit, this feeling of rupture is extremely painful. We must rebuild a bridge in the broken thread of interoception. This is an exercise taken from the book Après une césarienne, un chemin vers la guérison pour la mère et l'enfant. I don't think it has been translated in English. I translated this bit for you. I'll do it as a topic of reflection while the needles are working. So I ask them just to be curious. While the treatment is happening, try to inhibit each part of your body. Start from your head and then go down. Can I feel my head from the inside? Do I feel like I inhabit my head and then my shoulder and then my chest and then my belly and then they will inevitably go down to the scar. Can I inhabit that part of me? Or is it an empty void? Is there a barrier, unpenetrable barrier that I cannot cross? If so, what is on the other side of this barrier? Can you perceive anything? There are no right or wrong answers to this. You're just curious. You're just observing. And then this exercise can be revisited from treatments to treatments, so you can kind of track how the interoception part of healing is going. Is it getting better or not worse, obviously, but is it still the same? So you can assess the progression of interoception. We know the needles. We can help by, I like to treat the marvelous vessels that have been cut. So I select the entry and the two joining points. I don't know how they called the technical term in English for that, but you get what I mean, the marvelous vessels. So the entering and exiting point or the key point. Using eight to guide the perception of consciousness toward the empty zone. So I love infrared lamps. It feels super nice also, but you could use Moxipack. I love them too. Or you could use the Po, the corporeal soul, such as long three, long seven, and using breathing to bring consciousness to the uninhibited zones, to or and flash or to the present moment and body. So long tree has the unusual function of anchoring the aspect of the soul called Po. Much could be said about the different aspects of the soul and their relationship to the various organ systems in traditional Chinese medicine and the five elementary, but basically, Po is the part of our soul that is anchored into our physical being. This means that this point is helpful when you don't feel solid in your body, or rather, when you don't feel grounded in your own physicality. This is a quote from Jeff Levine. Mhm. So afterward, we continue on our journey. You have an altered perception of self. The phenomenon of bodily amnesia following an aggression or wound does not affect only the physical body. It is also a loss of memory regarding the experience associated with that part of the body. The traumatic event is a nociceptive experience on both a physical and an emotional level. Well, because the body has changed, of course, our self-perception of our body changed too, partly due to the rupture in the large fascial network. Interoception can modulate the exteroceptive representation of the body while also defining the parameters related to pain tolerance. Structural changes in connective tissues, such as scars, C-section scars, fibrosis, and adhesions, can disrupt the pathway responsible for transmitting detailed information about the individual structural state and can therefore lead to a distortion of the image we have of our own body. So, because the fascia is broken, your perception of yourself, interoception and dissociation work hand in hand here. I talk a bit about this, just bridging to another side of what I already talked about, is broken and doesn't work as well. What this might lead to in our lives, if you cannot inhabit your body, if you cannot feel your body sensation coming from your scar, healing will be much harder. If you cannot hear what your body is trying to tell you, your body might be trying to tell you, oh, this is infected, or oh, this needs love, or oh, this needs time, this needs rest. And if you cannot hear your own body's signal, you might not do the thing it needs to do, needs you to do in order to heal. And also, it's super sad if you have a part of yourself that doesn't feel like yourself, too. So, how can we help with this? The more words I have, the more perception I have. This is one of my teacher in an autonomy class. I don't know if it's a thing in the Anglo world. It's therapy, mostly popular in France and Europe. Oh, just not party. So trauma victims cannot fully recover until they have become familiar with and accepted their bodily sensation. To change, one must be aware of one's sensations and how one's body interacts with the world around it. Physical self-awareness is the first step toward liberation from the grip of the past trauma. This begins with the ability to describe what one feels in one's body, not emotion, but physical sensations such as pressure, heat, muscle tension, tingling, etc. So we need to find word to describe the scars and indirectly how we feel about that. This part can be done during the questionnaire at the start, before the treatment start, or during the treatment. Like for example, you're doing mock cell, you're needling the scar. You could ask question about it. The question I ask more often is, what color is your scar? Not while you look at it. In your mind space, when you feel that scar, what color do you see it? Is it pink, green, red, gray, dark blue, whatever? What color do you feel it is inside? And what texture? Not when you palpate it with your hands. In your mind's eye, what texture is your scar? Is it sticky? Is it um prickly? Is it rough? Is it silky? Is it soft? I tend to give a lot of examples here, just that they can maybe pick one of them or just see what I want them to what kind of answer I want. And recently, I had a new client. Our C-section scars, physically, it was perfect. Like I almost couldn't find it. If I had been blind and just used my hands to check if she had a C-section, I wouldn't have been able to tell. It was the most beautiful C-section scars I have seen in my 11 years of practice. It was perfect. Physically, perfect. Completely healed. Amazing. Like it was spectacular. Almost like invisible to the eye, too. Invisible to my hands, and that's a thing, but invisible to the eyes too. But emotionally, like lots of hickey stuff happened there. And I asked her, and she said her scars were royal blue, and it was I don't know the word in English, but when you like caress a cat's hair on the bad side, it's like not good. And also, I asked her and my other client, what is your relationship with your scar? Is it neutral, friendly, toxic? What is your relationship right now with your scar? And then I asked them also, are they able to touch at it, look at it, and massage it too? So another question that you could ask, what mood do you think your scar has been in lately? The last time I did that, my scar was pink and it felt like a rug texture. Still, the word in English eludes me, but a rug texture, a bit rough, but not bad, just dense grain. And it felt amicable, like friendly colleague, not a friend, not a dear friend of mine. Our relationship felt just a colleague, cordial. It felt cordial. So you ask them question to name how they feel about their scars, physical sensation of the scar, to help them have a better perception of self and recover from the trauma. So I'm a bit behind on time. This is gonna last a bit longer than I thought, but not much longer. Thank you for people that are still here or will listen to it later on during the recording. So somatic memories are also something that needs to be we need to get rid of. Tissues can retain the memory of trauma, and symptoms can appear long after the traumatic event, with or without apparent cause or direct stimulation. So the intense emotion we felt at the time of the trauma can trigger a long-term condition response to reminders, so triggers of the event, which are associated in both chronic alteration in the physiological stress response and dissociative disorders. So it could be a smell. Let's say you smell the same perfume than your nurses had, or it could be a physical place, a temperature, even someone else's story, the touch of a therapist palpating the scar that might happen to you, the pressure of your clothes on the scar, and then, yay, our nervous system reverts to where it was during the injury. So the somatic memory is triggered, memory surfaces. We suddenly like maybe feel cold, just like it was in the operating room. We relive the sadness that accompanies the word you need a C-section. We hear the sound of the scissor cutting our perineum, or our legs are numb, as if we were still under anesthesia. Just keep in mind that when we touch a person's body, we touch the traumatic event that their body has experienced. During the class in Toronto, I'm going to talk about palpating. How do you react? What you need to do if somatic memories emerge? What you need to not do to make them worse? And how to try to let the body go. Things they are holding. They are holding it to protect themselves. It's not a bad mechanism per se, but the body needs to know that now it is safe. Just like the scar needs to know it's not being ripped up again. It's secured, it's closed. If the scars constantly think that something is going to pull it apart, it's gonna keep on creating collagen after collagen after collagen, and then you end up with a hypertrophic or keloid scars. So the physical scar needs to know it's safe. It's not gonna open up again. And emotionally, you need to feel safe. You need your body and your nervous system needs to know that you are not under threat anymore. You don't need to protect yourself. You can let go of that. Thank you very much for the thing you did. They were super helpful, but now they can you can let go. You can rest. You did your job. Tools to help. Also, the Huff and Puff will help here, like so many things. Like I said, the Huff and Puff works for the bulldozer of chi. It works for emotional stagnation, but it works for physical stagnation too. And it will work for somatic memories. So I had people like fully on relive part of their journey. Like not I'm thinking about it, like I'm there. I'm reliving, I'm seeing, smelling, and touching like a full-on hallucination. I'm there and I'm living that thing. Like I said, weird thing happens sometimes during the FM buff. Weird but amazing things. Liver tree can also release somatic memories on its own. Everything you do to release the emotional trauma or the chi stuck in the physical scar will help to let go of the somatic memories that are still holding on. Palpating and treating with love, respect, and reverence the scar will help a lot. We must approach scar in a very respectful and like loving way. I'm gonna talk about trauma-informed palpation a lot during my class. We give it permission to let go of the thing it has been holding on to, just by the way we treat the scar. After that, we need to tame or befriend the scar. I'm going to read it in French and translate it after. On ne comprend vraiment que les choses qu'on apprivoise. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. It's from The Little Prince. I don't know how popular is that book is in the Anglo world, but the translation would be, we only truly know the thing we tame. But apprivoiser in French, the word doesn't exist in English. There's no equivalent. Taming is like an act of aggression. I bet there's something not violent, but I am taming you. I am using my will to force it upon you. So you become my pet or my subjugate or my thing, and you will obey me. I'm taming you. So you're not wild anymore and you're like civilized, whatever. Apprivoiser, it means I'm going to slowly over time do a dance with you and get to know you. So you stop being a stranger and then you become a friend. This apprivoiser is better for the scar, meaning to slowly over time build a relationship with this new body part, this new thing we have on us, in order to learn to know the scar and feel like it's a friend, not a stranger. When getting to know someone or a new part of your body, you take it step by step gradually. A relationship is built up over many encounters with time and effort put into it, into discovering the other person. It is important to do the same with the scar. Step by step, we move forward in the relationship. It might be uncomfortable, but it is important work. And if it's not done, if we never befriend our scar, our relationship might become the hidden casualties. When a woman or anyone cannot bear, oops, sorry, cannot bear to look or touch at her own scar, this is something very common. She may well not be able to allow a partner to touch it, disliking that part of her body so much that its sexual intimacy is affected. This is just one aspect, still an important one. So during the treatment, you can create a time and space to create an occasion to start befriending the scar. So you can invite your client to touch their scars. Beware of making them do that in the same position they gave birth. So lying on their back, just like they did in the operating room. It might be less triggering to do it laying on their side or semi-sitting at least. If it's too hard for them to touch their scars directly, skin to skin, it could be on top of their clothes. And if even that is too hard, just give them a little pillow or fold a towel, and they can touch the scar through that towel, so less directly to start befriending the scar while you're also putting in needles and building your treatment plan and your point or your therapeutic tools to help bridge the relationship. While you're also doing that with your needle, they can also be doing it consciously while the treatment is working, touching their scars. I also have a script, a written script, if you want to read it to them while the treatment is taking place, or you can print it out and you can let them read it while they're touching their scars while during the treatment. That will also be wonderful because sometimes people need like like a guided meditation to help them move forward on the path of opening up to that scar. I'm sharing it during the workshop. So, and mugwort. Moxa is the perfect bridge. because sometimes they know they need to massage their scars, but they cannot even look at it, so they will never massage it. This is like too much too soon. Moxa is a beautiful bridge bef to build up that relationship before they are able to touch it. Because Moxa, someone else can do it for you. If it's too much doing it to yourself, someone else can do it for you. You're not touching the scar. It's indirect heat. It's warm. It doesn't hurt. It's not painful. So it's a beautiful way to start treating, cr- creating a relationship with your scar is to moxa it. And after all, Artemis didn't give us mugwort for nothing. It was to help with our childbirth and the consequences of thereof. So in the Greek mythology, the goddess Artemis gave us mugwort to help us have easier childbirth. And I extended it. I gave myself creative permission, extend it to the thing that happens after childbirth because it's one continuum. It's not just I'm pregnant, I'm giving birth, and I have a baby. It's one journey, it's one story. So everything that helps the childbirth is also helping the postpartum and vice versa. And everything you do during the pregnancy, everything you nurture during pregnancy will help with the birth and will help with this postpartum. Moxa, especially mugwort, the plant in moxa, is a wonderful gift, a yin force that allows us to go deep into ourselves, to the depth of the scar, to the depth of our intuition, and also yang force of stored heat that warms the body and the soul and brings the yang we need for transformation, for healing. This is a poem regarding mugwort. Artemis and Artemisias ask, where are you from? What do you want to change? What are you willing to lose? Like I said, it's a bridge. Very well received when people, my clients are like, my physio told me I should touch the scar, but I cannot. I just cannot touch the scar. Doing moxa on it, it's well accepted and well tolerated. And this is also a good referral path. Go see all the physios and all the chiropractors, anyone that does manual work on scars, and tell them if you have a patient that that doesn't let you touch the scar or they cannot touch it themselves, send them to me and I'll work on it with my needles and my treatments and I'll help them get to a point where they can touch it and where they can allow other people to touch it and then you'll be able to do your manual work. I have many referrals from other practitioners and they send me people that cannot touch their scars and they like Moxa a lot. I included lots of citation from why Moxa is also a good idea to help the scar ill, physically ill, and if you help the physical, you help the emotional, and vice versa. I'm going to show you more specific Moxa techniques and especially timings, when to do what for what amount of time during the workshop. But I included for this presentation a bit of quote from studies showing why Moxa helps more than just it, it is a bridge or it helps your intuition be more alive and listen to. There are also physical stuff happening that is good for the physical scar. And lastly, a quote to end this presentation. Slowly but surely, in all the beautiful and worthy ways, you are still blooming. So thank you for the people that were here live. I'm sorry there isn't a chat. If you want to talk about, I'm gonna send you all still the recording of the class, and you'll have my email if you want to chat about anything you've heard here. You can write it to me if you don't want to like raise your hand right now and like just speak up spontaneously. Spontaneously. So this was a small sneak peek, all of the part during the emotional healing. There are many things we can do for that and more specific techniques. But I wanted to give things that were easy to apply in in a clinic setting, like tomorrow, if you need to, even if I didn't give you the full picture and all the tools. So I hope that was interesting and helpful. And if you have any questions, I can talk about birth for days. So you do not bother me at all with your questions. You can talk to me on Messenger or through my emails, and I'm gonna send you the links for the coloring page for the Off and Puff on YouTube, the guided meditation that Kristen did while the Off and Puff is happening. The infos for the workshop from mine and the Auscultation, Palpation, and Fetal Positioning workshop that is happening the day right after. Uh, and I'm gonna do another live thing, webinar thing, but on distal strategies to address the scar. If you cannot needle it locally, what can you do to treat it distally? So I'm also gonna send you that link to register. Yay! Thank you, everybody. Mhm.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a question. I'm wondering about just with if you're going to make any suggestions or recommendations in the workshop about different treatments that might be appropriate at different stages of healing. For
Yeah.
example, like early postpartum in the first few months versus someone who's maybe a few years post cesarean birth, and then also for working with pregnant women who are pregnant again and working on the
Yes.
scar during pregnancy. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yes, I think that's the thing I'm most proud of, the treatment plan, what to do at what for what scenarios, even for not, let's say a 20 years old scar. What do you do when it's an old-ish scar, when it's a very old scar, when it's a fresh scar for every stages of healing, and how to identify what part of the scar is at what stage, so you know what is safe and what will be the most effective, and if there is emotional trauma or if there isn't. So I built a very metal framework. I'm not very metal. So that's why I was very proud of this part. But I built something so everyone can feel very, very confident looking at a scar to have a treatment plan form. What can I do safely and what will be the most efficient thing to do here and now and what to suggest. What am I suggesting my client to do at home while I'm also working on things in the clinic?
Awesome.
And
That's so beautiful. Thank you.
yeah.
I thought so, but just wanted to, yeah, get clarification. Also, I'm so excited for this. I'm so amazed at how much work and thought you've put into these like deeper layers of healing. And as a midwife, how important this work is. But also as an acupuncturist, I'm so excited to delve in deeper in my own practice. And yeah, I can't wait to take this workshop.
Thank you. And it's sadly very needed. And the rate of C-section is only going up and up and up. Some part of the world, it's like 70% of birth.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to treat them. Yeah. And thank you. And most of
Thank
the
you.
care and thing, it's thanks to my journey. This is a silver lining of my son's birth. It forced me to become a better human and a better practitioner. But I'm glad if it can help other people. At least trauma wasn't for nothing. Yay. Thank you for the feedback.